Hello everybody, I just wanted to quick do a video about Punnet Squares. I know that doing videos isn't your guys' favorite thing to watch, but I promise if you watch this video it's going to help you a lot with your homework and help you understand the concept that we're going to learn. It's because it's a little bit complicated. I want to make sure that you guys understand it. So I'm going to review the basic Punnet Square real fast. If you feel like you've got a hold on that, go ahead and fast forward. If you feel like you need a little bit more help with how the Punnet Square works, go ahead and keep watching, and then after that, we're going to learn a new concept called a dihybrid cross, and it's going to be a bigger Punnet Square. So you're definitely going to want to watch that in order to do your homework. Okay, so we're going to just do a basic Punnet Square real fast. In the PowerPoint, I did the example of co-color. We're going to go ahead and just stick with that example. In the PowerPoint, you should learn about genotypes and phenotypes. We're going to talk about that a little bit about today in this video. But first of all, we'll start off with a male and a female. The male always is placed on the top of the Punnet Square, the female's on the side. You guys should know that from the PowerPoint. So we'll do coat color. For this example, dominant is always represented by a capital. So big B would equal black, and then the little b would equal red. I know it's tempting in a Punnet Square to do big B equals black, and then do a little r for red, but when you're doing a Punnet Square, it has to be the same letter. So we're going to use big B's and then little b's, or capital B's and lowercase b's, even though the color that the lowercase b's is red. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to we'll say our bull is black, and his genotype is going to be big B, little b. And our cow is red, so she has a double recessive because the red comes through. So male is going to be big B, little b. Female is little b, little b. So first step, big B comes down, little b goes over. Little b comes down, little b goes over, so on and so forth. Big B, little b, and this one would be little b, little b. So each of these squares represents a percent chance of what their offspring is, their genotype, and also what their phenotype is, or what they're going to look like. So we're going to break that down right here. So we look at our Punnet Square, and then genotype is, we're talking about the actual letters. So there's two different genotypes, this one and this one. So we're going to write that down. Big B, little b, little b, little b. There's two big B, little b's, and there's two little b, little b's. So that's how you would do their genotype. Now, we look at this Punnet Square, and we look at their genotype. This one has a big B and a little b. Because it has a big B, then the color is going to be black because it's dominant. So this one would also be black. Now, this genotype has two recessive genes, which means it doesn't have a big B or a capital B to override the red with black, so these are going to be red. So for phenotype, how many do we have black? 2 black. And how many do we have red? 2 red. Or 50%. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. For the basic Punnet Squares. Go the same thing for any trait. If you're talking about if they have horns or not, or eye color, or any trait, simple trait like that, that's the Punnet Square you're going to use. Now, we are going to make it just a little bit more complicated. So, a dihybrid cross means that we are going to not only look at one trait, but we're going to look at two traits. So, this is the part you're going to want to watch for sure. To make it simple, there's two examples that I've been using in coat color, and whether they have horns or not, so polled or horned. Polled means they do not have horns, and then obviously if they have horns, they're horned. So, two traits we're going to do is coat color, and then if they're polled or not. Big B black, we know that. Little b red. With polled, big P means they're polled or they don't have horns. Little p, which is really hard. And I might change the P so to something else so you guys can see a little better. Let's do H. That might also be confusing. Let's do Q. So that means they're polled. Little q means horns. Okay, so we're going to be using both of these in this Punnet square to figure out if the offspring, what color they're going to be, and if they're going to have horns or not. So let's say our bowl is, let's do black, and he does not have horns, and we'll make him homozygous. Oh, look, I'm doing P's again. I got to get Q's. Don't let that confuse you. Okay, big B, little b, and then for horns or polled, he is going to be homozygous, polled, so he does not have horns. Then we're going to do a cow, and we'll also do big B, little b, and then we'll do heterozygous, but she also doesn't have horns. So this is how you do it. Across the top, we're going to have our bowl. So you take, oh man, I might not be tall enough for this. What you're going to do is you're going to take however many options there would be. So we could have a big B and a big Q. We could have a little b and a big Q. Then we could have a big B and a big Q, or a little b and a big Q. So you're just taking big B, big Q, big B, big Q, little b, big Q, little b, big Q. Now, it'll be a little bit different on the cows. So we're going to take that first big B, and then I'm going to take a big Q. We're going to stick with the big B with a little q. Now we do the little small b with a big Q, and then little b, little q. Now, this is kind of getting technical, but your dominant trait should always be first, but don't worry about it. We're just going to, technically these should be switched, but for our purposes, so it doesn't get confusing to you guys, I want to make sure you understand. So, this is our huge Punnet square. I know it looks kind of intimidating, but it's really not too bad, I promise. So, we're going to do the same thing. Big B comes down, big B comes over, big Q comes down, big Q comes over. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to keep going. Little b comes down, big B comes over. Dominant first. Big Q comes down, big Q comes over. Keep going. Big B, big B, big Q, big Q. This one would be big B, little b, big Q, big Q. Hopefully that makes sense. Keep going and fill in the square. So big B comes down, big B comes over. Big Q comes down, little q comes over. Big B comes over, little b comes down, Q, Q. Big B, big B, big Q, little q. Big B, little b, big Q, Q. I'm just going to go ahead and finish filling in this Punnet square. Remember, down and over is what we're doing here. If you were here, I'd be asking you all questions, but okay. So, looks like we're going to a barbecue, but now we can tell these are all the different possibilities that these two mated pairs, this bull and this cow, can have. So, when you go through this, big B means this one's going to be black, and it's going to be polled or not have horns. This one's going to be black, polled. This one's going to be black, polled, black, polled. Because all of those have big B's, all of those have big Q's. This one's going to be black. Oh, I better put a P for polled. Black, polled. Black, polled. So on and so forth. These are all black now. What color is this one going to be? Red, because it's recessive, but it's also going to be polled. This one's black because it has a capital. This one's going to be red, polled. So on and so forth. Big B, black. This one's going to be red, black, red. This one's black. This one's black. Polled. Polled. These ones are also black. Polled. Okay, so we look at this giant Punnet square, and you know that are any of these calves out of this bull and this cow going to have horns? And you can say, there should be a D there, 100% of them will be polled or not have horns, so none of their offspring will have horns. Now, are all of them black? No, because we have some recessives. So all of those are black up there. Black, there's 2 red here and 2 red here. So 4 out of the 16 would be red. So everyone, hopefully everyone understands that these Punnet squares look scary, but it's really the exact same thing as the mini Punnet squares, the just basic ones. You're just pulling 1 down, 1 over, 1 down, 1 over. Message me if you guys have questions. We are going to do a worksheet with this dihybrid cross. You're going to have to know how to do this. Again, if you have questions, feel free to contact me. I know it can be a little bit complicated, but take your time, go slow, and it'll hopefully make sense. Thanks.